You're watching Cable 2.
And hello everyone, welcome to Today with Dr. Beverly Emory. I'm Chris Runch. Thanks so much for being with us. Spring is here finally. We don't have to talk about early dismissal days and snow days.
We hope, right?
Gosh, I think we're going to be in the 70s for the rest of the month. It's looking pretty good.
All right, I'm ready for it.
Yes, and summer is not that far away.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, it is. But it's that time of year that we talk about budgets. I know that we're busy with that here at the school system. This is the last week for us to enter certain things about the budget. The Board of Education talked about the budget this week. Did we accomplish anything? Where are we?
I think we've accomplished a lot. I don't think we're where we would like to be ideally, but we have had some really great years of revenue, and this year we're a little flat with that. And so after we initially presented to the board at the Finance Committee meeting on April 10th, we've had to go back and really look within our own budget to try to present a balanced budget. And that's been a big walk for departments, a lot of folks looking at ways that we could trim back a little bit. So we've essentially shaved about 1.3 million. And some of that is just where and how we paid for things and what we considered a contingency so that we can bring the board a balanced budget next week. The outlier on that I just want to be really clear about is we have not included a raise from the state. And you know, Chris, when the state gives a raise to state employees, that local school districts have to provide the same raise to folks who are paid locally. Not everybody that is employed is paid by the state. And we have to factor that into a budget. And so that is going to be an issue for us. So depending on what the state decides to do, we may have another sort of deficit out there we have to come up with to figure out how we would do that.
It's a complicated formula.
It is, and the timing is complicated because on May 10th we'll present our budget to the county commissioners, and the General Assembly doesn't even start the short session until May 16th. So we kind of are blind about what this could look like until the General Assembly has an opportunity to address it. It's not like anybody's purposefully not addressing it. They just don't go back in short session until May 16th. So that's the other reason that we always have to come back and amend our local agenda, even if we had really good intel on what was going to happen until that state budget is finished. It's a big driver of what happens locally.
The other big topic that night was teacher contract. That settled, everything's...
Yeah, well, the policy is approved. Now the real work begins in terms of the state giving us the option now to grant 1, 2, or 4-year contracts. And of course, we've opted to leave 2-year contracts alone and stick with the 1 and the 4-year. And so now folks will use that criteria to begin to determine how many teachers would be eligible for a 4-year contract. And you heard some discussion about folks who don't necessarily, who may be considered a teacher by statute, but who don't necessarily have an EVOS score or a growth score for students. And so we need to work through with those folks, how do we sort of mutually agree to ways that we can measure student growth. But I do want to say I'm really proud. I'm proud of our teachers who have supported a performance-based 4-year contract. I'm proud of our administrators, our board. To me, it's a rather courageous way. The easy way would just be to say, once you've had 3 one-year contracts, if you have a proficient evaluation, you get a 4-year. But part of what we've been trying to do over the years is really lift up and recognize and honor those irreplaceable teachers in our district. And so I'm really pleased with the outcome of where this is. I think the devil will be in the details, and we'll find some problems, and the board was discussing that. You know, how do we come back and look at this and collect some data and make sure it's fair to everyone? And I appreciate that thinking.
It was a heavily attended meeting, and everyone seemed pleased with it. So,
Actually, we put these policies out online so people can give us feedback. We did a survey of teachers and administrators, and I think it was very validating that the responses we got really did support that being recognized for being a high performer is a positive thing.
You recently made a presentation to Project Impact's advisory board about the district's progress in early childhood education. What is Project Impact, and how are we doing?
Well, 2 years ago, our business community sort of rallied around our third grade literacy goal and asked what could we do, you know, to help, how could we align all these businesses that want to help us in a more focused fashion. And from that, Project Impact was born. About $25 million has been raised to date to support efforts for us to improve early literacy. There is a board, a volunteer board of directors, so to speak, and quarterly we meet with them. We share results of things that have been funded. We ask for additional funding, but it really is intended to be a 6-year effort that will give us time to show which of these things we're doing really gets us to that goal, or gets us more on that path to the goal. And then at some point, the end game here is to figure out how do we sustain that funding. So if our business community helps us get started and sort of allows us to innovate and try, if we find something that's really effective that we want to keep long term, then how do we sustain that in this community? But it gives us an opportunity to really collect the data to prove. One of those cool data sets that we shared was the growth of kids over time, which was very impressive in terms of the program opportunities they've had. If you see that over time and it continues to manifest that way, then we would hope our community would say, gosh, every child having this pre-K opportunity is really important and will result in a better third grade reading outcome. So we're very proud of that. We have just had a large number of requests funded this quarter, and so where we've had Pathway to K, we now are adding Pathway to 1. Because we just opened the Office of Early Learning, we have some components that all of our pre-K and kindergarten teachers will be exposed to in terms of literacy training, coaching components. So I'm really proud of this group, and what they've done for us is amazing. I don't know of any place really. I would challenge any community to find this kind of an effort really devoted to, you know, this really targeted area of how can we help all our kids learn to read on grade level by third grade.
It's a big commitment.
It's huge.
Yeah. Earlier this month, it was the Week of the Young Child, and we focused on pre-K at Gibson. And that's a really great program. It really is.
Yes, the video was awesome.
Oh, good. You got to see it. Well, good. I'm glad. Something else that is going on at our schools, security has always been one of our main concerns. And now we're making sure that everyone knows, if you've been in a school, you probably have seen the posters. All employees must wear their badges, their ID badges. But also, as a parent, as a visitor to the school, we're really stepping up presenting identification, wearing a visitor badge or sticker. Is that just one of the ways that we're working to make schools safer and more secure?
Yes, it's. I think when you have, you know, every time we have a tragedy, it's a good opportunity for us to revisit what we do. And you know, all of our schools have done vulnerability assessments since February 14th, and there are these things like badges and signing in and being sure doors are locked that don't cost us, you know, a tiny cost and have a broad impact. And I think the bigger impact is just reigniting that awareness that we need to pay attention to who's in our buildings, and we need to make sure they have a reason to be there. And we have a power to do that without lots of bells and whistles and, you know, expensive stuff. And so I think that's been sort of our grassroots effort, is what are some things we can do? And that vulnerability assessment, really looking at where are we on each and every campus the most vulnerable, and what could we do about that? How do we change it or fix it or address it? We also have some monetary things that are, you know, have been accelerated. As you know, we have moved some of the bond money up. We had money there so that the middle schools will get the bells that ring people in with the cameras. Those will be coming soon, since that money's now been approved. And then the standardization of cameras in our schools. So those are two big pieces that have a cost, and we had them planned, but we appreciate the commissioners working with us to move that money up in the bond issue so that we can get those things going. The other piece of that has been a focus on mental health and what kinds of opportunities, how do we help our staff be more aware of, you know, kids in need and in trouble, and, you know, what does that look like in my classroom? What does it look like in my cafeteria? How can I be better informed about identifying and helping kids who might be struggling with mental health issues? We all, I think you see this sort of in the national conversation. Our mission, of course, is teaching kids to read and write and be educated. And so our staffing around all these social and emotional things is not what one might expect. And that's a challenge. It's always been. I mean, in my 37 years, we've never had enough counselors, you know. We are a district that has a cadre of social workers. There are many districts in the country, you know, they can't afford that. So how do we sort of bring those resources together? And so we are going to be working on a task force that will really look at some particular items that we think might help us in terms of the delivery of support for mental health issues. And in fact, this budget that we just talked about includes 2 additional school psychologists to sort of help lead some of that effort, and also to help with the increase in assessments that we've had of kids who might need a different view, and then guidance for them and their families on ways they can find support.
It's a different world. It really is. And I've always said, if you see something, say something. I mean, you report it.
Well, and I think parents and teachers and staff do a really good job with that. Students do a great job with it. Students are probably some of our best safety indicators. If they feel there's a trusting relationship with an adult in school, they're going to tell you something. And but the opportunity is so much more vast than it's ever been before with social media. So as a parent, I can't imagine. It's a daunting task to be able to see. You know, we've had parents that have called us and they have found things in their child's social media, and thank goodness they let someone know. But I think it's so vast and broad. It's a really big landscape. You and I were talking before. I've been on Twitter all day. I mean, you know, the time that it takes to get through some of that it's a big landscape for someone to try to keep up with. So we also, you know, really, I'll take this opportunity to encourage our students to understand that, you know, while it's a fun place and kids like to create connections there, you know, being safe there in what you say and do, and is really important. We've had kids since February 14th who actually have a criminal record because they were kidding around, and in fact, the way they did that was a violation of the law. So we don't want kids to be in that position unknowingly or just because they enjoy social media.
And if you put it out there, it's not temporary. It's not.
No.
It's there.
It's there.
It is there. Well, we always like to end on good news, and at the time we're taping this, next week we're going to hold our Core Value Awards. It's something new for us. We're doing all 4 categories, a new category too, Assistant Principal of the Year. So you want to talk about that? Are you excited? I mean, it's going to be a neat night.
I'm really proud of our folks who have done this. It's all happened, and it was a great idea, and this is one of those things where you enjoy the fact that somebody had a great idea and you really have to just bless it, and then other people make it happen. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the lifting up together of all of these awards that we have done in different ways, because I think in some cases it really elevates then everybody, and that appreciation of everybody, which is truly living the core values of the district. So a big gala event, and I think it's fun to start something that could be a new tradition that people look forward to.
It's a pretty award. I mean, I would want the award just to put on the mantle or something. It's very nice. It really is.
Yes.
So
And
we'll
we do want to, I mean, I'm not going to start naming, but you know, we can't do these kinds of things without sponsorships from the community, and we've had really great response to that too. So we thank everybody who is helping us sponsor the core awards.
Right, and we're going to have video of it next time. So it's going to be a big night. So we're looking forward to it. Well, we'll let you go.
Onwards and upwards. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And when we come back, we're going to show you some kids at Southwest Elementary who want the entire world and even the astronauts to know that they read. That's after this.
Where's Tommy?
I thought he was with you.
No.
Jack.
Tommy?
Go get him.
Don't stop. Keep playing. Here we go. Here's the fun part.
Did you do this?
Great job.
Encouragement. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
If I can reach the stars, pull one down for you, shining on my heart, so you can see the truth. I could change the world. I would be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good, baby. If I could change the world, baby. If I could change the world.
Make a difference. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
There has been a lot going on in the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools since we last spoke. We're just going to hit on a couple of the highlights. Kernersville Cares for Kids is an organization that's now 20 years old. It was formed in 1998 to empower students in that area to lead by example and strengthen their community connections so that they can do their part to keep themselves, their schools, and their community drug-free. Every year they hold a lunch and listen. This year it was held at East Forsyth High School. Dr. Emory spoke, and the keynote speaker was Avery Hall. This is a great way for the whole community to come together and to give those kids props, and it was a really nice event once again. And also School Board Chair Dana Caudill-Jones was there as well. Parent Power, that's something that you really need to check out if you're a parent in the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools. Sharon Frazier is in charge of it, and all you have to do is go to our website, click on the Parent Power logo. This was one of their recent programs. It was held at Goodwill Industries in Winston-Salem. They had facilitated group conversations, mixed group conversations, keynote speakers, and they also had lunch. They provided lunch. They had programs at Inmar, also at the Central Library. And again, Parent Power is something that has events throughout the school year, and all you have to do is check our website and click on that logo. And finally, we head out to Clemens and Southwest Elementary School, where it was a day of kids getting together to read. It's part of the DEAR program, D-E-A-R, which stands for Drop Everything and Read. This year, the kids got together on the football field and they joined together to make the words "we read," and it was huge. If you're familiar with that football field, it sits down below a hill, so we were up top and we really got a good look at it. Anybody who was flying over in a plane got a good look at it too. The entire school joined together, and you're going to see it here. We read. And they read their favorite books, and it was a really nice day. Again, DEAR, D-E-A-R, Drop Everything and Read. So congratulations to all the kids at Southwest. That's going to do it for this edition of Today. Thanks so much for being with us. Next time, we'll have video of all the winners in the core awards. That's for Principal of the Year, Assistant Principal of the Year, Classified Employee of the Year, and Teacher of the Year. So you'll want to tune in for that. Thanks for being with us. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us on your school channel, Cable 2.